Hi, it's John Cronshaw here with my author diary for the week ending June the 23rd, 2024. I've had a productive week. I've been working on Maya's point of view from Ravenglass Legends Book 3, which is called The Knight and the Rebel. So I'm about a quarter of the way through the first draft of that. It's actually going really well. I say first draft, it's actually technically second draft because I've been cycling. So what I do is I dictate the first draft and then I go over it and kind of make the corrections and all that. So yeah, that's going well anyway. It's going. What is it? Yeah, I'm just kind of working through that. I've already got Ragnar's arc done, so it's just a case of getting that finished. Which I don't know. The other day I did get stuck. It's not writer's block. It's basically that I just wasn't happy with the way the story was going. Wasn't happy with the scenes. I don't want boring scenes. And there was a bit where it's like, okay, I need to go and do this. Go and do this. It's like, oh, that's a bit boring. So I went and had a walk and then solved it. So it's not boring anymore. So that's good. What else? Yeah, so it's 7 years this week since I released my first novel. So Wizards of the Wasteland, my first book. 7 years, God, that's a lifetime ago, isn't it? Well, 7 years, but yeah, feels like a while ago, that one. And yeah, so what I've done is that is wide now. I've put all my Wasteland stuff wide on lots of different ebook platforms, and it's also free. So if you want to download and read Wizards of the Wasteland for free, you can do so. It's on Apple and Kobo and Nook and Amazon and all those places. So free there. So yeah, that should be cool to read that. I have been reading a book called The Art of Darkness this week. This is by John Robb. Now I think I've read some of his books in the past. I think I might have read like a book he did about the Stone Roses like years ago. But yeah, this one is about the history of goth and gothic music. Yeah, it's interesting anyway. I'm not sure it's quite as good as some other music books I've read. I don't know what it is. The audio book isn't amazing production wise. It feels like the volumes kind of go up and down a bit, and it sounds a little bit like it might have been recorded through Zoom. And it does a thing which I hate on audiobooks, which is it has lots of bits where there's music running under the vocals. Um, I'm sure that's fine for some people, but when, I listen to my audiobooks at least double speed, so it just sounds ridiculous when you've got like music underneath going really fast. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Don't get me wrong, it's an interesting history. It's just, I don't know, there's something about it that's just not quite gelling with me anyway. What I am enjoying now is me and my wife currently watching the Three Body Problem on Netflix. This is great. This is so good. This is like high concept sci-fi at its best, in my opinion. I'm at like episode 7, I think we've just watched, and I read the books back when they came out. So this must have been like, I don't know, 2015, 16, if I remember rightly. And yeah, really like the story. I think I'm going to have to revisit the books because I think there's some differences with the TV show. But yeah, it's really good, and just I think the best sci-fi, when sci-fi is done right, it's not about the technology, it's not about that, it's not about the aliens. It is about the humans. It's about humanity, and it's a comment on humanity, and this does it really well. So definitely recommend that if you are into sci-fi. My wife is not what you'd call a sci-fi fan, but she absolutely loves it, and it is because of the human element. I think she said to me, because we basically started watching it, and it's one of those ones where it's like, oh, let's watch that, and we started watching it, and she didn't really know the premise of the thing, and she said like if I'd told her what the premise was, she wouldn't have wanted to watch it, but she's really enjoying it, so that's good. I think she'd probably rather be watching Bridgerton. That's more of a premise that tick her things. But yeah, so what is it? Yeah, we're enjoying that anyway. It's good. Is there anything else? I think they're the main things I wanted to talk about today. So next week then, I'm going to continue with this new arc, Maya's arc of Ravenglass Legends 3. Get that done probably to the midpoint if I can. I feel like, I don't know, I need to just really dig down into the outline of this. I feel like there's something missing. So, I mean, usually when I get to the chapter, I know, but it's like when I'm looking at it at a distance, sometimes it's hard to tell where there's an issue. But that's fine because I can usually notice it when I'm doing it and then go, ooh. So we shall see. Hopefully I can get through this without any issues. Because, I wrote the first draft of Ragnar's stuff in I think it was 2 weeks, something like that. It was really fast write. I was doing I don't know, at least 5,000-6,000 words a day on it because I was just really into the story. This one's a little bit slower, but that doesn't necessarily reflect anything. It's just I'm tired at the minute. I've did a book launch last week, so I'm also kind of taking it easy. Yesterday didn't had a day off. I went for a walk, went for quite a few walks, went to the park, that kind of thing. And day before, as I say, I got stuck on this scene, so I ended up writing 1,600 words, and much of the morning was spent just going for a walk and trying to figure out this scene. So it's not as productive as some weeks, and maybe I do need to go back to the drawing board with some of the aspects of the outline, but that is fine. I think what's weird is a lot of authors, they can sit and write an outline, have a novel, and then they can write it, and then that's it. What happens with me is my characters sometimes don't play along, and I kind of go with my gut on what the characters want, and I get real resistance if I try and go against the way the characters should be or anything like that. And the character stuff tends to evolve as I'm writing it. I discover the characters as I'm writing the books, which is why I find it really useful to do kind of prequel thing first, just so I've got that character, I know who they are, what motivates them, what makes them tick. So when I go into the proper first book, then they're more of a solid character. So what happens is I'll start writing the outline, and then writing the draft based on the outline, and then the outline changes because the characters don't play along. I'll give you an example I've mentioned it I think before in the past with my Dawn of Assassin series, but what is it? The intention of that series, and it still will be because I've got a first draft of the fourth book, but my intention with that series was after the first book they're going to be assassins, and bought all the covers with the thing in mind that it's going to be an assassin fantasy. But my characters did not want to play along. My characters were like, no, we don't want to do that. We're not killers. And so it became more about these group of thieves not wanting to be assassins, even though everything was kind of pointing them in that direction. So it ended up being about cons and blackmail and everything around the assassin idea, but not the actual assassin fantasy like Guild of Assassins is, which I think has probably hit me in the reviews, to be honest, because it's that thing of the promise of the premise, isn't it? It's what is the premise of Dawn of Assassins? Well, you look at the cover, look at the titles, and it is a series ostensibly about assassins, and it's not. And so there is that thing of rebranding it as another series called Scoundrels. And I've actually bought a cover for Scoundrels. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't know whether I will actually do that because I think I'll end up having to write some more books in that series. And I've got too many things, too many plates to spin, too many different projects on the go. So I feel like I'm at that point where I've had this big kind of creative, different creative projects, loads of things I'm excited about, and now I need to kind of rein it back in. And I think I had this in 2019. I think my promise to myself was to clear the backlog of projects. I think I'm at a position where I'll probably end up having to make the same promise to myself in come December. but we'll see. I mean, my priority is obviously Punks vs Zombies and Ravenglass Legends, and see, priority, and it's already gone into like 2 or 3 different projects. So yeah, this is the issue. But yeah, so my immediate priority anyway is Ravenglass Legends Book 3, and I do think that depending on how the launch of Book 2 goes, whether I can justify extending, I will do a Book 4, but that might be the end of the series. I would have liked to have done a longer series, but I don't know whether it justifies it in terms of sales and things like that, because otherwise I'm just wasting time for no real reason, for not many sales. Because that series has been disappointing in terms of the how good the reviews are and how good the cover is and things like that, and how well it's sold. I feel that it should have sold well, but there we go. It's disappointing, but we'll just see how things go in the future. Really, I mean, I was listening to a thing the other day. It was part of this like subscription summit thing, subscription for authors summit, and Russell Nolte, he said a line in it, and it's really stuck with me. I kept thinking about it, and it's basically double down on what's worked. And what's worked for me is the Ravenglass Chronicles, is the serial. That has worked for me, and I've not done it. I've not carried on with it. Now, if I was to double down on it, 2020, 2019, 2021, now that's when it, a few years have passed. So I don't know whether doubling down on something that worked 3 years ago is the best idea. But there's a good chance that I will go back to Ravenglass Chronicles, basically because I've got loads of ideas for it. I've already got an outline for what I'm going to call the Book of Swords, which is the Ace of Swords to 10 of Swords. So that'll be like a 10 episode series, starting immediately after Ravenglass Chronicles. I did do a draft of the first episode of that, but that was a few years ago, and I haven't done anything with it since. So chances are I'll probably just go back to the original outline and just start again, rip it up, start again. But I don't know, because it's like, it's that balancing thing of going with what excites me, but also what is going to create a sustainable income for me as a full-time author. And I need to get excited about this. So I need to engineer this next Ravenglass Chronicles set. So I'm excited about it. I need to be excited about it. I need it to obsess me. So I need to do that. And I think I've been talking long enough. So I will leave it there for now. So until next time, cheerio.